You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime. You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yes, man. This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is season 14, episode 6 of the podcast. In this episode, we are recapping Maryland basketball. We're recapping the win against West Virginia, but we're also previewing the game of this episode that's being recorded. This episode will go live just a few before the game. Like to say up front, the Lady Terrapins won their police. The recap article and the preview against Arizona. They will play Sunday. And I will recap also two weeks for the first and second round of March Madness for the men's and women's as well. So be tuned in for that. The WNBA mock draft is still, we're almost done. I have all 12 picks. I feel like these 12 picks for the first round are good to go. We still have the NFL offseason stuff and the NFL draft mock 2.0. But let's just get into it. Was very, very nerve-wracking, taken off my life. The Maryland Terrapins defeated him 65.
This shit means something to me, man.
While yes, this was a good game. Well, it wasn't a good game. But when it mattered, it was a game of stops. It was a game of chess. It's ironic that the way the game ended with Jameer Young throws, just the way how it's the first 8 minutes practically was an eyesore to look at. We were down 12, and I really liked the adjustments that we made. When again, and you can nerves. March Madness tournament. It's a real opportunity for exposure. Things are different. You're not going to win many basketball games. For example, the first 8 possessions, Maryland turned the ball over 5 times. We were down 12. And within that 8 minutes, it felt like more like 15 minutes. The last 14 points came by off Virginia. We couldn't get offensively, we couldn't get going. We just couldn't find anything. Julian Reese hit that floater to end the first. And ironically, that was our 8th shot we took compared to the 16 West Virginia had in the game. Again, I thought that the switch flipped, particularly going after the first period, where the defense took over. Same thing. The defense responded. Again, we've seen Maryland have poor starts, and when you're down 19-6 throughout the first half, and then you're seeing just about until halftime, that's when you're seeing some things do. That's when you see some. He's Jameer. Remember, because he was for 3 minutes because of 3 early turnovers that he committed, and unfortunately, we had to put him back out there because I felt like West Virginia's physicality was really bothering us. And again, you just seen now all of a sudden, we had a 7-0 run. Now we're down 6. Then we're going a 9-0 run. We're up 1. And the defensive intensity that we had, we were like 26 points unanswered practically, which again, give credit. But particularly going into halftime 32-30, and West Virginia, there were 4 times where Maryland's defense, there were some scoring drives for at least 2 minutes of that first half. And Maryland held West Virginia to under 40% shooting and forced 8 turnovers, the same that Maryland had the first 20 minutes of the game. I thought some of that really started with Julian Reese. For me, I think coming in, again, like I said, there was some butterflies there. He really did enough on the offensive side of the ball. He did a fantastic job. 17 points. 13 of those 17s came from both off rebounds and putbacks, and even had a nice dunk. He had 9 rebounds. I had a couple blocks. The only thing is he was 5 of 10 from the free throw line. So, and also too, I said this before, other than Jameer Young, we keep saying that he takes this team as far as he can take it, and it has to be Hakeem Hart and Dante Scott. Hakeem Hart had 15 points. He had 7 points in the first half, and then he had 8 in the second. He was 7 of 13. Dante Scott had 11 points. He was 4 of 7. Yes, Jameer Young did not have a fantastic night. I was very disappointed. He had 10 points. That's not enough. I got to have more. But that's where I'm looking at everyone else that's around him. When your guy's having a bad night, you've got to pick him up at this. And when you see everybody kind of saying, okay, we got it. Like Jameer struggled to create his own separation against West Virginia's guards, who are physical. I mean, just 1 field goal, 7 of his 10 points came from the free throw line. And Kevin really had no choice but to put Jameer in the lineup. And that kind of played a role. But again, you have to put it out there because I don't think Jameer could handle the physicality. Give West Virginia's guards credits too. Kadarian Johnson, really, who's a 5th-year guard, had 27 points on us. Just what a game he had. He took a couple and from the logo, and like the other guy, Stevenson, I think he had 17, took 4 17 shots. One of their guys, their center, fouled out after 11 minutes. which was crazy to me. You had a guy, I think Matthews Jr. He got with a shoulder. Again, particularly Johnson went on that 10-0 run by himself in the second half when they were down 7. And again, that's a good player right there. You got to give him his flowers. But again, like for me, it was a decent game. Maryland did just enough to win this game, but for me, you've got to find ways to help your best player that's on the floor get going early, and that's going to be the key against Alabama. They're going to have to come out aggressive. I think when you have the Big Ten tournament and then March Madness, you can see now the intensity, now the attention on him. You've got to figure out how to get the others going around him. You're going to need Hakeem. You're going to need Dante. You're going to need those guys. Don Carey, you're going to need them to take the pressure off him and let Jameer do his thing. And, the past 3 games, he shot a disappointing 33%. And I think a lot of that comes from the guards they're just going at him. And we're really going to have to figure out some things, how to get him going early against Alabama. But the big game for us, I really, really am proud of those guys. And I'll talk about that in the final message. But let's move on to the preview of tomorrow's game, Saturday. We're playing number 1 ranked Alabama. I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I'm not really sold on Alabama because they really almost got away with one. It's unfortunate now they got the unfortunate. You have the unfortunate pleasure of now they have to play 2 back-to-back home games. They get home court advantage. I watched a little bit of the game, Alabama, right after the Maryland game, and just the way this season has been for them. I can tell there's a lot of distractions. Unfortunately, we all know what happened with Darius Miles and Brandon Miller, who will be an NBA prospect, probably go top 10. We know that off the court stuff. Just want to say this. I think it's disgusting that people on social media have been creating memes of that, making light of the situation. Let me be real for a second. A person's life was lost. The life was taken at the hands of somebody that made a dumb choice, made a stupid choice that now has life-altering consequences for them. Like, make memes of that. We got to be better than that. Talk about on Twitter, because again, that's where you can find me mostly. I'm mostly on Twitter. So we don't really know. It was him, Darius Miles, Brandon Miller, and there was another person on the team. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Excuse me. That were involved. Personally, I think Brandon should have got a couple games. He should have been suspended. I thought the way they handled it was piss poor. This Alabama team, yes, they did win the SEC title. They're the number 1 overall seed. They finished the year 25-9, 16-2 in the SEC. I do think that couple things you need to know. They can score the ball and all over the place. They're averaging damn near 83 points a game. That's the 6th most in the nation. I think they're second actually in their power conference, particularly the SEC. I mean, when you got guys like Mark Sears, Brandon Miller, they're just flat out scorers. But I will say the one thing that you have to pay attention to, they can have a case of butterfish in their hands back in the locker room. They're averaging about almost 14 turnovers a game. And see how defensively, particularly our press defense, will make them, particularly the ball handlers, really, really work. They're going to have that's a key. I'll get into that a little bit. With this team, another road game for us, for Maryland. As we all know, we're 1-9 in conference road games. The only true one we had was against Minnesota. We know this. We played Indiana in the Big Ten, even though that wasn't really a road game, but I counted it as a road win. It was a neutral win, road win. For me, I'm hoping that some Auburn fans will be in the building. If you all know the rivalry between Auburn and Alabama, I'm really going to be paying attention to see how offensively we look in this game. Defensively, I already know we're going to have our hands full with Brandon Miller, Mark Sears, and those guys. But offensively, we really got to figure out how we get our best player in Jameer Young going. Again, since Big Ten tournament and then Thursday against West, they are going at him. They're just bringing physicality. He had 10 points. He was 1 of 5 against West Virginia. Yes, Jameer has to be better, but the others around him have to pick him up and say, I got you. They have Hakeem Hart, Don Carey, Julian. Those guys, they have to be ready. They have to say, okay, somebody else on that starting five is going to have to step up. This is where your money, this is where your fame is made, is who else, when my best player is struggling, who else is going to step up to the challenge? That's one other key. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm concerned because I like to see how we're going to, what the defense will look like. I know we're going to throw the press out there, the press defense. But we know Brandon Miller is going to be the guy. Obviously, he's going to be this first scoring option, to me, in my opinion. He only played 19 minutes in the last game. He was 0-5. For a lot, he has to have security detail, body vest, all those different things like that, for his protection, because he's been receiving death threats, which that's a whole other subject for another video. It's going to be interesting to see how defensively we play him. I can tell with everything that's been occurring off the court, I'm kind of starting to wonder, is it starting to get to him? But it hasn't impacted him, I can tell. But I was surprised in only 19 minutes he was 0-5, but that's neither here nor there. Maryland's defense, regardless who they've played, they've played against a great players, but we haven't seen anybody of this caliber of a player. Let me say it like that. I know Brandon's been dealing with some knick-knack injuries, so but look, if you could walk, you can play. So I'm curious to see how defensively we'll exploit them. But also too, Maryland's got to cut down. They have got to. The offense, again, just like I talked about in the video that should already went up from the Holy Cross preview. I'm going to say that for the men, the first minutes are going to be key. The first 5 minutes, how the offense is going to look. How we start the game, that pretty much determines what how the game looks. So I'm going to say, and already saw it already with Purdue and Early Dickinson, the Maryland Terrapins will upset the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. No, excuse me. Roll Tide, not Crimson Tide. We'll upset Roll Tide. 84-78.
Guaranteed.
That's going to happen. I predict that. Roll Tide, not Crimson Tide. Roll Tide, I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our last message of the evening, and that is final
incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
Gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're famous? Then why don't you mosey on down to Zagnif Apparel LC, where you can dress like you're famous. I have a nice 15% off your final purchase when checking out Zagnif Apparel. You want to dress like you're famous? Why don't you check out this
following
commercial?
is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
And again, 15% off your final purchase. Big Nate, that's the code. Go and check it out, Zagnif Apparel. Big Nate will be the code. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. But before I finish, I want to give a special shout out to Andy Katz, who was the only writer and sports analyst in the West Virginia Maryland game to pick Maryland, whereas everybody else that was on that list picked West Virginia. So I just want to say the experts, thank you, because that gave us more fuel to the fire. I wish I could pull up the Kevin Willard clip. I'm going to save that for the Alabama game. But I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Friday evening, because not only did the women win against Holy Cross, they get to play Arizona, even though I feel like Arizona is not a number 7 seeded school, in my personal opinion. But for Maryland to do what it needed to do to win the game, and people picked West Virginia, it's a great day. It's going to be a great weekend. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, be tuned in for future episodes. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Big Day Sports Talk Podcast. I'll have the rest of the preview for Arizona for the Maryland Lady Terrapins tomorrow, around Saturday evening. I have that up. This episode will go up hopefully around 9-ish, maybe 8:30. So be tuned in for that. But until then, the experts that picked West Virginia over Maryland. At the end of the day,
God gon' answer our prayer living now. They told me dreams come true once you live it out. I picked up pieces from my childhood in a broken house and heal my soul from the trauma we've been given out. I hear the whispers in the wind under smoky clouds and tell myself once again I'ma work it out. So much shit can happen, yo, it got me tripping now. Yeah, it's feeling different now.
I wonder if it's worth living now. They
told me working 9 to 5 just to make it out. And now the dark nights got me needing mouth to mouth. Resuscitate my dreams, tell me what it's all about. I wonder if it's worth living now. They told me show a little skin just to make it out. They told me grind until I die, till I reach the clouds. Excuse me a little moment while I break out. Never let them take me out.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.